So, while away at war, especially in these times, obviously there was no text messaging, there was no emailing, there was no Snapchatting, okay? All of this stuff was done through snail mail, as we call it now, but you would write a letter and you'd send it off, and it would get to your loved one in probably a week to 2 weeks, and then they'd read it, and then they'd write you back, and you'd get it on the battlefield. When you were, well, not on the battlefield, I shouldn't say that, but when you were at camp and, the mail came in. And so that was the only way that people really communicated. And even then, it wasn't great because sometimes the mail would get lost or the higher ups would hold the mail from you. It all depended, right? So that in this time, that is why this letter is so important, because while he was away, Sullivan Bayou wrote a letter to his wife, Sarah. And he had written her many letters, but this one, because of its content, remains really, really famous and really revered as something that's just a true testament of love. So Sullivan Bayou's letter to Sarah was written actually 1 week before his death. So once you read the letter, you're going to realize why this is so heartbreaking, because the contents of the letter are really just heartfelt and powerful. In this letter, he tells Sarah that he still feels confident about joining the Union military. He still feels confident in his role here, and he believes that this is where he should be. He's also at peace with his choice to join the war. He has no regrets. He still thinks that this was the right thing to do. Later on in the letter, the majority of the letter is him telling Sarah how much he loves her and how much he loves their children, and how if anything were to ever happen to him, he'll always be with her, no matter what. But the really crummy part that gets to me is that it was never mailed. So Sarah, during the war, never saw this letter. Sullivan Bayou decided to hold on to this letter because it was kind of upsetting. It was kind of, morbid to think about, and it was a little depressing. So he decided to hang on to this one, although he had written it, and to send off more cheerful ones to keep her spirits up. However, this was still in his kind of stash of stuff, before he went to the Battle of Bull Run, at which he died, the first Battle of Bull Run. And so this was never mailed, however people had found it, and that's why we can see it today.